All right, so we're getting to know our finalists as well. Nigeria reaching its 10th final. No other team has had more than 5 appearances, and they've never lost an Africa Cup of Nations final. I mean, that record of 9-0 is impressive. Morocco, though, seeking to be the second team to win the title after losing the final in the previous edition. So obviously the pressure is on here for Nigeria to prove, but also for Morocco to win it for the first time, to break it all down. We bring in our Colin Udoh to talk about what we saw here. Colin, I mean, exciting semifinals. Looking forward to the final here with Nigeria and Morocco and this unbeaten streak that we've seen from them. For you, are they the deserving finalists?
Yeah, I think to be fair that the best 2 teams at this tournament were Nigeria and South Africa. Unfortunately for them, they got in the wrong half of the bracket, and a more deserving final to me would have been Nigeria South Africa final. Morocco and Ghana are good, but I do think that in the end, it's kind of tough. Morocco are the host, so that should make it a little bit more exciting when they get there. Nigeria have almost like a brutal record of getting to the final and winning everything. And so I think they go in there as the long favorites, and Morocco will need to do all they can to get that first title.
I mean, and here, Colin, we're obviously following all of the players of NWSL who are participating. Speaking of, we know that Nigeria, dominated Zambia in the quarterfinals. Did you expect more from players like Barbara Banda and Temwa Chawinga?
Well, they did what they could, in fairness, and I think that if they had a better supporting cast, they would have done even better against Nigeria. They're quick, they are sharp, they're clinical, and they showed it when they played during the group play. But Nigeria looked far and away like the best team at this tournament, and I think that for their first tournament, both Rachel Kundananji and Barbara Banda did a great job, representing Zambia, and I have a lot of hope for the future of that Zambian team. They get some, a bit more better players. I think they could be a force in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Rachel Kundananji has been such a standout and a staple here for NWSL. So happy to see them representing their country as well, especially what we saw from Banda. She said, give me a minute and I'll score. And that's exactly what she did. So many standout players that we're seeing here, Colin. But who's been the standout player for you in this Cup of Nations?
Look, far and away, I'd go with AFC Toronto's Esther Okoronkwo, who plays for Nigeria. She's had an assist in almost every game. In fact, she's the tournament leading assistant provider. She's got 5. She even got 1 for the Houston Dash, Michelle Alozie, for that winning goal for Nigeria. And she's got a goal to herself on credit. And she's been involved. In fact, I think her goal involvements have been about 6-7 goals altogether. And she's been an absolute revelation for Nigeria. So I'll definitely go in with Esther Okoronkwo. With a little bit of spice with Morocco's Ghislaine Shabak.
Yeah, Okoronkwo doesn't know how to score an ugly goal. That's what we've seen from her. So I'm not surprised that you mentioned her. But when we talk about NWSL, and obviously I mentioned the players that we're following at the moment, they're already in the league. But when we talk about the future here for some of these players that we're seeing in the Cup of Nations, is NWSL targeting any potential transfers that they're following closely here in the Africa Cup of Nations?
I would believe so. The Malian striker is already, I think she signed in the middle of the tournament for the NWSL. And then I definitely would love to see someone like Esther in there. And then you've got, I think there's a couple of young players from South Africa who would, make some really good prospects for the NWSL. We saw what happened last season. African players came to the NWSL, absolutely took it by storm. Banda, Kundananji, Oshoala, and then we've got Gift Monday at the Washington Spirit now doing some really good things. So don't be surprised if you look at it by next season, next couple of years, you have half the players in the NWSL coming from Africa.
Hey, that would only be great news for the league. As we've seen, they've quite literally hit the ground running here for the NWSL. But when we talk about the final, you mentioned a little bit, obviously, Nigeria with that dominance, but what it would mean for Morocco when it comes to this final between them, Colin, what kind of final can we expect?
So from a tactical level, I think that Morocco would be best served not to do what Zambia did, which was try and go toe-to-toe with Nigeria. I think Morocco would be best served trying to sit in something like a mid to low block and then try and see if they can get back on the ball on transitions. If they do that, then they have a chance. If they try and go toe-to-toe, we might see another Zambia experience. But having said that, I think Morocco have been absolutely amazing in the way they've developed women's football. You guys were talking about Michelle Kang and what she's done so far for women's football. I think Morocco deserves a lot of credit for the work they've done to women's football. 5, 6 years ago, Moroccan women's football were losing 8-0, 6-0, 7-0 to the likes of Nigeria. And then the FA invested a lot of money into developing women's football and the facilities and everything else. And, I mean, 2 tournaments, Morocco are in the final. So I think that's a great thing for them. And if they do win on Sunday, that would absolutely catapult Moroccan football to the top of African football. It will be great reward for the investment they have made in women's football in Africa.
I mean, those kind of stories just make us smile. So very, very excited to see Morocco at this level. Would you have them as favorites to win the whole thing here, Colin?
I would have them as underdogs. There's no way. I don't think anybody in their right minds would have Morocco going in as favorites against Nigeria in an African Women's tournament final. But like I said, if they play smart, respect Nigeria's qualities and just try and take what they get given, I think they might pull a surprise, but it's going to be a long shot.
Hey, it's a see it to believe it situation, but we will see it and be excited to see what we're going to witness here for the final of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Colin, we know, you said somebody else should be here talking about it, but we are very, very happy that you spent the time here with us on Football W.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.